Some days you need an intro. Today is not one of those days. What up, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. He's Tony Wiggins. I'm James Rapien, and we have a lot to get to on this Wednesday ahead of Week 6. From what's going on in Las Vegas to our latest Locked On Power Rankings and the top teams in each conference. And got a little bit of everything for you today. A quick reminder to subscribe or follow, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, because we are free, we are daily, and we are here for you, NFL fans. So make sure you do that. Tony, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. We the first listen too, right? We the first listen of the
first
day.
Listen. Every single day, listen. Make us your first listen. That's right.
Gotta be the first listen. Man, I'm doing good, man. You know, it's hump day. Is anytime, you know, I don't rush the days. I don't treat Monday or Tuesday any differently than I do Friday or Saturday, because you know I just don't rush time, man. I just treat them all like the weekend. So happy to be here with our Locked On NFL people on a Wednesday, and ready to roll and talk about the mess that is going on. I think there's going to be multiple coaching changes. By the way, there's already one that's going to be open, Jon Gruden. So we're going to talk about who the odds, who BetOnline says are the odds-on favorites to replace him.
Yeah, let's dive into that because, you know, Jon Gruden's out and they obviously reacted to that news, which a week ago, if you would have told me Jon Gruden would no longer be coaching the Raiders, I think that would have been a shock to everybody.
Right.
And all of these emails come out, and we're not going to break down the emails. We're going to talk about what's next. We're going to look ahead. And what's ahead is a coaching search and a coaching change and the ripple effects that come from that. And as you look here, if you're watching on YouTube, if not, these odds courtesy of BetOnline AG, Eric Bieniemy, the odds-on favorite to be the next head coach, permanent head coach, not interim, permanent head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders at 6-1, followed by Brian Daboll, another offensive coordinator. Shock, the Chiefs offensive coordinator, the Bills offensive coordinator, two of the best offenses in the NFL. Daboll has 13-2 odds. Joe Brady 15-2, Kellen Moore 15-2, followed by a bunch of 9-1s. Byron Leftwich, Matt Campbell, Todd Bowles, and then I'll do the 10-1s, and then we can react. David Shaw, Gus Bradley, Matt Eberflus, and Rich Biarashia, and I just messed up that name, but whatever the hell his name is, 10-1. Your thoughts on that list?
I like the 12-1 guy. I like Doug Pederson, proven Super Bowl winner. He might have a couple of his former assistants available to him if Matt Reich doesn't get his act together up in Indianapolis. But I like the list. The list is a who's who of coaching. The reason why I like Pederson is because if Mayock is still there, he'll probably want to go for someone with head coaching experience. But I think Mayock, for different reasons, Mayock is probably just as big of a problem as Jon Gruden. So I don't know if removing Gruden and keeping Mayock is what they're going to do. But that's a good group. I'm really enamored with the top two, especially the second of those two in Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll has a tremendous future because the way I look at it is this. There's no question about, and there should be a question about Eric Bieniemy calling plays because just like I mentioned, Doug Pederson, Frank Reich, Matt Nagy, all of these guys that were with Andy Reid, and of course Reich was with Pederson, you wonder if they actually call plays or not. I just think it's an excuse to not give Eric Bieniemy a shot, and I think it's wrong. I will tell you this. Brian Daboll is the unquestioned leader of their offense in Buffalo. He is he basically because Coach McDermott is a defensive-minded coach. I pretty much subscribe to the fact that Daboll is probably the head coach of the offense. And boy, are they efficient. And have they developed players too? They've developed their offensive lineman, Deion Dawkins. They did a really good job with him from where he was picked to where he is now getting that second contract. They've really developed the receivers, and they have an identity. They developed Knox, the tight end. Of course, Daboll is a tight end coach by trade, back with Belichick and Nick Saban. I just really think he's the guy, man. I think the way that he goes about his business, how he mixes it up, and then how he's, you know, the ultimate thing is the development of the young quarterback. So that's the guy to keep my eye on, not only in Oakland or Las Vegas. I keep my eye on him in Jacksonville. And I know you're shocked to hear that, but I'm telling you, there's starting to be this groundswell of people and people that I know that text me and say, I'm not so sure about him in 2022 because it's not all the juice isn't worth the squeeze. They're not getting a great program, and that's what they thought that they would be getting. So you might be looking at 2 or 3 of these guys taking high profile jobs next year, James.
Urban Meyer on that list, by the way, odds 50-1, just to throw that out there. But let me give you my theory, Tony, because they could hire any of those guys, and we know what the Raiders like to do, what Jon Gruden was. He was a splash. We'll see if the general manager, Mike Mayock, survives this. Obviously, he wasn't part of the email chain, but he's kind of a figurehead, so to speak, of Gruden, and kind of did what Gruden wanted. So we'll see there. But when I look at the Davis family, they're known for what? Making splashes. Mm-hmm. And so when I look ahead to 2022, I mean, I honestly think the Raiders are done now. I don't think you can overcome that and make a playoff run. I think they're talented. I wouldn't have been shocked if they made the playoffs. It's just really hard for me to see them overcoming this crazy drama, right? In losing your coach mid-season unexpectedly, where he resigns because of everything that's going on in them overcoming it. If they do, that's great. Regardless, I think that this news with Gruden makes a splash something that's been speculated about almost a certainty. And it's a guy I watched the other day at Paul Brown Stadium beat the Bengals. Aaron Rodgers is not going to return to the Green Bay Packers next year. It feels pretty certain, right? It feels like this is the last move. Well, guess who's going to go all in and get him, because they can't help themselves but making a splash. And I know Derek Carr is playing well, and he's looked pretty good this year. And quite frankly, I think the Raiders are going to say, yeah, but that's Aaron Rodgers. I think the Raiders are going to make the splash, trade for Aaron Rodgers this offseason, because I
don't think they have to. I think he's going to be free.
And maybe that's the case. But mm-hmm. I think that the odds went up. If I was controlling the BetOnline.ag odds, the Raiders to me now would be the favorites to land Aaron Rodgers this offseason. They're an AFC team, Packers in the NFC. So if there is a trade, that part of it is really appetizing if you're Green Bay. They do have a franchise quarterback that they could give you if you wanted him, or if not, you could obviously get a bunch of picks. And when you look at it, Rodgers wants to be on the West Coast if he can. Vegas, certainly it's a quick flight to Los Angeles, quick flight to California if he wants to get there. It makes a lot of sense logistically. And then again, are you going to go with the big splash, hire a head coach? Or are you going to say, we tried that, it didn't necessarily work? We know what Aaron Rodgers can do. He's proven. And we're going to command the headlines. We're going to be relevant. And when I look at a Justin Herbert, when I look at a Patrick Mahomes, we want to compete with those guys. How are we going to do it? We're going to do that with Aaron Rodgers. We're going to go get him right now. We're going to be aggressive. I think Aaron Rodgers plays for the Las Vegas Raiders next year. And part of it, I'm not saying the only reason, but part of it is they have to make a splash. That's going to be their mindset. How do we make a splash and continue to build our brand in Las Vegas? Aaron Rodgers helps them do that. I think that this Gruden news, because he was kind of the face of the Raiders, not kind of, he was the face of the Raiders. No doubt. You need a new face of the Raiders. I don't think that's Derek Carr. Right. I think that's Aaron Rodgers. Okay,
so let me give you 3 things and to piggyback off of what you said. I agree with you about his West Coast dreams. When you look at the map, there's nowhere else to go on the West Coast except Las Vegas, right? So it would be sweet to me if Vegas trades Derek Carr to the Texans where his brother played, right? And Aaron Rodgers goes to Vegas. I think Aaron Rodgers negotiated a deal that when he came back to Green Bay, that he'd be free this year to do whatever he wants to do. So I don't think he'll have to be traded. The other thing is, and Raider fans will love this, if Aaron Rodgers comes to Las Vegas, Devontae Adams is coming with him. I think they're a package deal. I think wherever he goes, Adams is going to want to go there too. And now you're cooking with grease when you talk about him and Ruggs and Jacobs and all of those things. I think Aaron Rodgers would.
Waller.
Yeah, I think. Oh, how do I forget about him? I think they definitely be the team to beat. We got another team to beat. A couple of them in the NFL right now. Some of them are teams that certain people mentioned before the season started that were going to be pretty good. And then some of them are the teams that everyone thought they were going to be pretty good. We'll discuss those on the Wednesday edition of Locked On NFL here in segment 2 in just a second.
NFL fans, it's time for you to save money right now with an incredible app that's going to save you money on every gallon of gas every time you fill up. It's called Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. All you got to do is download the free Get Upside app, whether it's on your iPhone in the App Store or Google Play if you have an Android, and use promo code Touchdown, and you're going to get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. So you might as well take advantage of this offer. It's free. The app is free. There's no catch. There's no odd thing that you have to do. You just download the app and use promo code Touchdown and get up to 50 cents off on your first fill up. So check them out right now, and you can download it. Again, the free Get Upside app. Use promo code Touchdown to save money now. Maybe the Raiders should start doing this to save money for what they're going to have to do to land Aaron Rodgers this offseason. So again, download Get Upside with promo code Touchdown to save 50 cents per gallon, up to 50 cents per gallon on your first fill up.
And it's Wednesday, and welcome back here to Locked On NFL. And we thank you for joining us and making us your first listen. And we are free everywhere on all platforms. You never have to pay for content here on the Locked On Podcast Network. James, some good teams around the NFL. Now, I'm going to tick some people off here by not. First of all, let me tell the Arizona Cardinals fans, I am not one of those people that don't believe in your team. I absolutely do. Okay. But for this exercise, and I will probably have them ranked number 1 or 2 in the power polls, or maybe number 3. But for our exercise here today, we're going to tell you who we believe are the top 2 teams in each conference. Doesn't mean there aren't great teams, and there are a whole bunch of teams that are pretty much honorable mentions. I'm going to start in NFC. Can I do the NFC since we were just doing the AFC?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right.
Start us off.
All right. So in the NFC, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks because they're the defending champions and they have Tom Brady, even though they do have a few warts on their team, but they seem to be trying to iron those out. And there's something about winning it where you kind of know you can do it. And Antonio Brown looks like Antonio Brown again to go along with Mike Evans. My other team is the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't want anybody to, especially you, James, because when I give Dallas love, man, you always get on me about that. But are you coming around just a little bit with the way Diggs is playing in the back end, along with Anthony Brown, and how they're kind of getting after it, and how the rookie linebacker is blending in with Leighton Vander Esch really, really well, Michael Parsons. And then the fact that they have so many guys offensively, whether it's Cooper or CeeDee Lamb, some tight end named Schultz or Schwartz or whatever his name is, and then they're throwing the ball to this. Yeah, they're throwing the ball to this Wilson kid because Gallup is out. They got a backup running back. They got weapons on weapons on weapons. And Dak right now is probably top 3 in terms of MVP. You saw how I moved back, like I dropped it, I said something, and then I'm all pulling back. Like, now what?
Yeah, what are you doing, man? Like, I like Dallas. I think they're good. They're explosive on offense. Second best team in the NFC. Are you kidding? Have you forgot about the actual MVP and Kyler Murray? Have you forgot about the only undefeated team in the NFL in the Arizona Cardinals? That they certainly deserve to be in the running here. I think the Green Bay Packers are still ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. It's so damn funny how everyone falls in love with Dallas every year. Well, they have their warts too, and Tampa Bay already beat them. So naturally I would have Tampa in front of them. But Arizona, I love Arizona. I like what they have, and not putting them ahead of the Cowboys. Why? They have the better quarterback.
It's not a power poll. You asked me you made it clear that we were going to discuss who we thought was the 2 best teams.
And I'm saying that Arizona has the better quarterback, just as many question marks on the coaching staff, because I think both head coaches certainly have questions to be answered. Plenty of weapons, the best receiver of any of them, and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, is it close? I think it's close weapons-wise, but I lean Arizona when you count in Kyler Murray, and I know Diggs is balling. I mean, interception city. Mm-hmm. But I like Arizona. I like what they're doing defensively as well. It's close, But I like Arizona. And like I said, even a team like Green Bay, like if the playoffs are tomorrow and it's Green Bay and they're going to Jerry World, they're on the road. You betting against Aaron Rodgers? You going to do that?
No.
No?
No.
I want. Wow. Okay. All right. Well,
no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But I probably. You know who else is good? The Rams are good.
The Rams are really good.
The Rams.
Put the Rams. You don't think the Rams are ahead of the Cowboys?
I think the Rams are like number 5. They're hanging right there. No, I think Dallas. Dallas's only loss was a walk-off field goal, basically to Tampa in Tampa.
My gosh.
Tampa
played awful. Tampa played awful.
You know why they played awful? You know why? Because they played awful because of who was in front of them. That's why they played awful. Hey, look at now. Look at the Chargers. Look how Dallas went and beat the Chargers on the road. Look at Dallas, man.
Okay, so let's flip it. Since the Chargers are so good,
don't make me out to be some sort of cowboy apologist because I got friends that tell
where's your hat?
I am far.
Where's your cowboy hat? I'm gonna call you Jerry from now on.
And it's arguable
Jerry
right
Wiggins.
now. And it's arguable right. There you go. It's arguable right now that Dak Prescott is better than Kyler Murray.
Stop. Just stop. Are you serious?
Even my dog. Your dog.
He's frustrated.
No, you know what? I read dog language. You know what he said? He said, Wig is right. That's what he said. He said, Wig is right. That's what your dog said. He agrees with me.
No, he's a little dog. He's a little dog, and he's like, man, Kyler Murray's little like me, and he's the best quarterback in the league right now. He's like, what are you talking about, Tony?
All right, so what are you doing? Who's your other team? You said Arizona. You going with Tampa?
Well, yeah, it's Tampa.
Okay.
Once their defense, I mean, they've gotten hit with injury after injury after injury, and if Kyler Murray is the MVP, it probably is Tom Brady right now. I mean, he's balling. So, we could switch gears, and not really not much to talk about Tampa wise. I think they'll try to make a move or two before the deadline, which we could talk about in upcoming weeks. In the AFC, it is quite interesting, Tony. I'm going to start with you. You go ahead, because I think you're about to take a victory lap on one of these teams, and I'm going to agree. But go ahead.
I'm absolutely going to take a victory lap on the Mafia. I told you, Buffalo. To me, they're the best team in the NFL. I ain't not hyperbole. Now they got to make sure. Listen. Now they got to make sure the quarterback doesn't just wake up one day and decide to be crazy. But listen, you watched the game the other night, and I said, listen, not listen. You watched the game the other night. So we've seen this description of Jesus in cleats talking about quarterback play, and a guy with this outworldly talent of the likes we've never seen. If you didn't know any better, which one of those quarterbacks the other night do you think people would have been talking about?
Kyler Murray.
I'm just talking about.
You're talking about Josh Allen.
But I thought about it while I was watching the game. I'm like, if you take that description and you didn't know anything, which one of those quarterbacks would you think? I'm starting to think that there ain't that big of a difference between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen on good days. I'm telling the truth. He's starting to make me a believer. He can throw anything. I mean, he can put it anywhere he needs, and he can do it from a mile away.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not debating you. The Bills are one of the top 2 teams in the AFC right now. The fact that they went to Kansas City and handled them like that made the Chiefs. I mean, it never really felt like the Chiefs were going to win that game, which is weird. That's a weird feeling because you always think Kansas City. I remember thinking in the Super Bowl in February, they're down, I think it was 31-9. And I'm like, yeah, but you never know. They play here, play there. They could get back into it.
Like the Warriors, Golden State. You didn't feel it, did you? And you didn't feel it. Didn't you feel like if those teams played 10 times, that Buffalo beat them every time?
Yep. Yeah, it felt that way. And I love the Emmanuel Sanders move. I mean, first off, he's one of my favorite receivers, maybe ever, because he's always went under the radar, and he's just a baller. Wherever he goes, he's going to ball. And speaking of the Chiefs Super Bowl, he could have had the game-winning touchdown against the Chiefs if Jimmy Garoppolo knew how to throw a deep ball. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Sorry, 49ers fans. Outside of the Bills, who's the second team in the AFC?
It's
Chargers.
Hard.
It's tough. Like the AFC is.
You called it.
It probably is the Chargers because you got Bosa. You got you got. There you go. There's the chart. It probably is, but I struggle with this because Derwin James on defense, and that's the difference to me. Herbert is playing like 85% or 90% of Mahomes. And since I said only that, people are going to be like, no, he's just as good as Mahomes right now. I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about in big games. We haven't really seen it yet, but he's damn good. Okay. Well, look at the weapons. They got the weapons. Love Eckler, love Mike Williams, what he's doing. We know what Keenan Allen can do. And then you flip it. And I think that's the difference. That's why they're still ahead of the Chiefs. Because I still think the Chiefs are damn good. And we'll get into where they are in the power rankings. And I know they're 2-3, and everyone thinks like the sky's falling. They could still win the Super Bowl. I'm not shoveling dirt on the Chiefs because it's early. At the same time, I don't think I can put them ahead of the Chargers, who are 4-1 and have those pieces on defense. And I just mentioned a couple of them. Derwin James, to me, is the best safety in football. Yeah. Bosa is one of the best edge rushers. When you have guys like that and you're healthier than the Chiefs, I'm going to put you ahead of the Chiefs, especially when you're 4-1.
I got the same too. The only team I thought about having in there was the Browns, and I had the Browns, and I took them off because I have
the Chiefs ahead of the Browns.
I think
Browns fans are like that.
I think Justin Herbert is a little bit better than. Well, I think he's significantly better than Baker Mayfield, and I think that's the difference.
You know what you need to do, since you said the Browns? You need to put some damn respect on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, because they were my other contender for that spot. And I look at the two, and it's really close, especially after what Lamar did on Monday night. I mean, my man put on the show. He put on the show.
And I fell asleep because him and Jamar Taylor won me my fantasy game, by the way. They scored 100 combined points in my league. And I was way behind. I went into the game down like 50 points, and I actually won by less than 0.2 of a point. So, all right, man. So, third and final segment, we're going to look at the power poll. We gave you our spill as to who we think it is. We're going to let the rest of the Locked On NFL family let you know how we all voted. And we'll do that in the third and final segment here on a Wednesday on Locked On NFL.
You know why Lamar Jackson might have had such a big Monday night, especially in the second half? He probably grabbed a Built Bar at halftime, slammed that thing, and suddenly got energized. Look, Built Bars are the #1 protein bar on the planet. We talk about them all the time here on Locked On NFL. They have limited time flavors like cookie dough chunk, which you're staring at right here if you subscribe on YouTube and you're watching there. If not, well, you should check that one out. Or maybe you want the coconut almond or the cherry or the raspberry or the mint brownie or the peanut butter brownie. They have something for everyone. And the best part about Built Bars isn't the fact that they taste great or that they're covered in 100% chocolate. It's the macros. High in protein, low in sugar, low in carbs, and perfect for you. Low in calories, too. Check them out at BuiltBar.com. Use promo code LOCK15. You're going to get 15% off your first order. Again, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com.
All right, man. It is Wednesday. That means it is
Power Rankings.
That's right. Yep. Power Rankings time here on the Locked On NFL Network. And there it is. It's up in your face. I'll go 1 through 10 and we can discuss it. And then we can just let me know what you think about that after that, James. Let's go. Who do they got #1? My Bills. I'm loving the fact that I'm saying my Bills. It's the team that I picked. I know it, man. It's the team that I picked. You know what? And they broke the Wiggins jinx last year, too. So Buffalo's #1. Arizona, who I actually like more than James gives me credit for, is #2. The Bucks are #3. Rams are 4. Ravens are 5. Chargers are 6. Cowboys are 7. Packers are 8. We are right in the wheelhouse of our last segment. Isn't that something? The Chiefs are 9, and the Browns are 10. So every single team that James and I discussed and mentioned as a possibility for making those top 2 in each conference, they're right there in the top 10. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think the top 10 is pretty close. The Cardinals should be ahead of the Bills to me. But, you know, who am I? I have the Cardinals #1 back-to-back
I would agree in a power poll. I would agree with you.
Yeah, you know, and then Bills 2, Bucks 3. I think that's fair. That's what I had. The Rams at 4, not going to argue with it. Ravens 5. At least someone respects the Ravens, since you mentioned the Browns ahead of Baltimore, which I'm just not doing right now. But yeah, not many surprises. Your Cowboys all the way up to 7. Quite interesting. And honestly, I don't know, Tony, when you were filling this out, but after about the top 10, and actually it is the top 10, I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to put anybody.
Massive
like Seattle.
fall.
Yeah, Russell Wilson gets hurt. It's not just the loss. I had Seattle at 20 because
they're 13th here and they're 2 and 3. So you're right. I have the Bengals extremely high in my poll.
Do you really? Yeah. So let's go through 11 through 20 and react, because this was much more challenging to me. The Saints at 11, 49ers 12, Seahawks at 13, Titans 14, Raiders 15. I had them much lower too, because I just don't think they're going to be able to overcome what's going on there. The Broncos 16, Panthers 17, Bengals 18, Patriots 19, and Steelers 20.
Does not surprise me a little bit. Pittsburgh actually got themselves up off the mat the other day with their victory, so they actually crept up a few slots. Last but not least, let's just run through the rest of them. Vikings at 21, Eagles at 22, Washington football team 23, Bears at 24, Colts at 25. I actually have the Colts lower than that. The Falcons at 2 and 3 are 26. They've looked better than I expected in some of their games. The Dolphins are 27th. I think that's the shocker of the first quarter of the NFL, that the Dolphins have been so poor coming out of the gate. There were a lot of expectations. Let's go to Detroit at 28. They're 0 and 5, but you know what? They have actually played like they're trying to eat people's kneecaps. So I do give Dan Campbell some credit. The New York Giants are banged up and are 29th, and it's going to get worse. The Jets have played better, but not, better. There isn't a win. There is a win and loss column, not a better column. So the Jets are 1 and 4 at 30. The Texans and the Jaguars are where they started the season, pretty much 31 and 32.
No real surprises. Yeah, no real surprises on the back end there. Looking at this, you're right. I think the Dolphins certainly,
and the Colts,
the surprise right now. The Colts. See, I thought the Colts played pretty well against Baltimore, and I was surprised that they were in control of that game in Baltimore for as long as they were. And obviously, they give it up at the end, but we'll see. Can they overcome that? I'm not completely counting them out yet because of the division you're in, which you're familiar with, obviously. But yeah, not too many surprises here. I was a bit surprised, shocked, whatever. Like, to me, the Broncos should be ahead of the Raiders. The Panthers should be ahead of the Raiders. The Seahawks, again, are you overcoming Russell Wilson? It's one thing to have a couple drives with Geno Smith. It's another to have Geno Smith in there for an extended amount of time. A game is one thing. 5 games is another. And I think the Seahawks fall off for sure this year. We'll see if they can prove me wrong.
No doubt about it. Man, it's been a fun Wednesday as always with you, James, discussing Raiders, Jaguars, Urban, Gruden, all of these things.
Aaron Rodgers to Vegas.
Rodgers. That's right. That's right. So, I would you guys need to make sure you guys follow along the Peacock and Williamson podcast. That should be your second listen every day. Brian Peacock is an NFL analyst, and Matt Williamson is a former NFL scout. And they give it to you like no other, especially with all of this news going on in Oakland. I suspect this story isn't over. There's going to be more stuff coming out, and a lot of interesting stuff, interesting information, stuff that you don't really like to hear because you just want to enjoy the games. But unfortunately, people are people, and people do things sometimes that need to be reported on. So I think there's a lot of NFL action that you guys will get. Make that your second listen on the Peacock and Williamson podcast. Make sure you join us every day on our respective podcasts, as well as listen to Locked On NFL Monday through Friday. For James Rapien and Tony Wiggins, we are out of here, but we will make sure that we see you next week at the same time. And our lasting mantra is, please take care of each other. Take care.